Hey folks, Pete Winarski here with the Business Consultant Institute. And when Terry Levine and I founded this company, we were thinking about what are the struggles and challenges that consultants have, because there's way too many people working way too hard and are way too frustrated. And the thing is, there's businesses out there that need help, and you as a consultant can be the one to help them. But you've got to figure out a few things that are really, really important, like how do you get your name out there in the first place so that you can start helping these guys. They've got to connect with you, you've got to connect with them, and this is really important. This is where a lot of folks fall down. If you think about your business, either you're a business coach or a business consultant, and you're really trying to do what? Obviously you want to help your clients. But for your business, for the health of your company, you need revenue. You've got to have money coming in. You could be the smartest person with the best strategies ever, and if you aren't able to actually have a client sign a contract with you, it's not worth anything. Okay, you're not going to make any money, you're going to go out of business. So here's where we're going to focus and talk today. Revenue. How do we increase your revenue? Maybe you're just starting out, maybe you're already a six-figure consulting or business coach business. Maybe you are already at 7 figures. How would you like to add another 0 to that? Well, there's some things that you've got to put in place in order to do it. First of all, it's the number of clients or the number of client days that you're out there working or making impact. The second thing that matters is what can you charge? If you're doing a day rate, what can you charge per day? If you're doing an impact basis, how much impact are you making for your client that turns into a fee? So it's the number of clients, maybe it's the number of days, but it's certainly the number of fees. So you've got to find a way to raise this up, and you've got to find a way to raise that up. By the way, the number of days you want to work is the magic number. It's not about working more and more and more. It's about working the right number in order to drive both of these up in a way that maximizes your revenue. So here's the problem, right? Most folks don't have a clue of where their next client is coming from. Maybe they got started because they knew one person, and that one person says, hey, I could use some help, you seem to know something, let's get together, let's talk about how you can help us, and next thing you know, you're a business consultant. Congratulations. But then what do you do when that project's over? Okay, you were probably working so hard on that one project that you weren't out there talking to anybody else, right? You're not networking. Right? How do you do that? What's the magic for you to spend what might be weeks of your time working with one client at whatever the fee level is, and then that ends, and what do? You're off work. You're not making any money for the next, sometimes, number of months. I know, I've been there. This is how I got started. My goodness, it was awful. Ask my wife. I was driving her crazy. So you've got to find a way to crack that code. Another thing to think about is, how do you drive your fee up? It's all about impact. How do you get your impact up so that people are willing to pay more for what you're offering? Are you able to deliver 10x of what you're charging your client? Are you able to drive their revenues up and their profitability up to the stratosphere so that they're happy to give you a chunk of that as your consulting fee to them? Because they're thrilled if you're driving that much up. So how do you do that? Well, you're not going to be a generalist where you do everything for everybody, because you won't have a lot of clients. People won't know how to find you. You've got to find a way to define that position that's unique about you, that specialty, what's different to get you out of the commodity and all of these other consultant choices that they have. The other thing is your fee base. If you can become somewhat of a recognized expert up here, then you can demand a higher fee level because you've got people lining up who want to hire you at that fee level. You've got to get out of the commodity world. There's a lot of people who are calling themselves consultants who don't know how to get clients, who don't know how to maximize their fees. And they are charging dirt levels. They're underbilling for their business. You might even be one of them. You're in that sea of commodity consultant people who are billing really floor level for what your services are really, really worth. Why? Because you don't know better. You don't know what it takes to change the game, change the conversation, change the way that people perceive and think about you. Right? We want to help you to make that happen so that you can get your fees way up higher than what they are. You can get the number of clients up in conjunction with that, and this is a 10x easy. So if you're the starter, the 6-figure company, the 7-figure company, add a 0 to that, because that's what's possible when you start putting some of these strategies in place. Here's the typical challenges that folks have. They get started, they don't know who they're going to call for their first client, right? So they're dialing up, trying to find that first one, and then they find that first one, and they realize, well, that person doesn't even know who I am. They don't know what I'm all about. They don't know what my expertise is, and I'm trying to be helpful. I'm trying to answer their questions, but my goodness, wouldn't it be better if they sought you out because they already know you to be an expert in that area? I mean, that's really what it's all about here. You want to reposition it from that standpoint. So how do you get credibility? How do you become the expert? How do you have such a volume of great track record with past consultants and other things that you have out there that are demonstrating your expertise through maybe articles or blog posts or books or movies or things that you've created. You've been on stage perhaps, you've created a video perhaps. I mean, all of those are fair game. The important thing is you don't want to just throw it all out there in a way that doesn't attract the right people. So how do you position yourself in the first place? What is the marketing language that you're using? A lot of folks are consultants because someone said, hey, you seem to be pretty good at this, can you help me? And then they jump in. They don't have a clue about marketing. They know how to make the improvements in the area that they have made when they were an employee for some company somewhere. Right? But they don't know what they're doing when it comes to talking and positioning themselves. As a consultant, you're out there, you're probably starting out as a one-person company. So not only are you delivering the expertise that you have, but you are also the marketing person, the salesperson, the innovator and the product development person. You have to deliver the work. And then you have to do all this back office stuff, all the admin function. You've got to figure out how do you invoice people, how do you communicate, how do you do contracts? Do you have any clue, right? I mean, all of these things, all of a sudden you're like, whoa, my goodness, I got to figure all this out. And you might not even realize that you have to figure that out. I mean, when I got started, I was busy working with a few clients. I wasn't even invoicing them for weeks. I mean, what a sin, a cardinal sin to make in a business is not invoice for the services. They're wondering, where's the invoice, right? I didn't have the time or the capacity. So as you grow, you figure these things out. You got to put systems in place, but you got to do it deliberately. You got to be smart about it. There's a bunch of different strategies for how to do this right. You can take your revenue that starts here. You see that dot? And you can grow it over time if you want to there because you're grinding it out. Grinding it out is a tough way to do it. Or you can be smart about what you're doing with how you're positioning yourself, the language that you're using. And then you get the next gig, right? And boom, up goes the curve. And then because of all of the strategies on how to be most effective in the client, you get a great testimonial and the curve goes up. This way, big, up. Not bouncing around at a level of practically struggling, but how do you excel? How do you get your revenue up there, which then enables you to do other things if you want, like build a big team of resources. But you want to grow smartly because you've got strategies to help you to do that. And that's really what we're trying to do with the Business Consultant Institute. So the Business Consultant Institute is all about helping you to do this by identifying and figuring out what those challenges are and knocking them out for you. So 2 things I want to talk about real quick. One is this whole combination of growing revenue because you're doing the right thing with the right marketing language, you're driving the arrow this way, and figuring out what all those strategies are. We've got a list, and we're going to put them all in this live event that we're doing. And at that live event, you're going to put these strategies in place. Some of them you're going to actually do in the room, and you are going to accelerate your results right away. Right away. So you're going to get immediate payback from that. The other thing is that whole credibility. What do I know to do as a credible expert? What do I say? How do people find me? So this is where the second idea comes into play. This movie idea. We are putting together a documentary about consultants. So everybody who goes to this event where we're learning these strategies will also be interviewed to be part of this documentary, so that you can then share with potential clients and prospects as you're talking, say, go to this link, look this up. Here's my video clip of this movie about all-star consultants. I mean, what could you ask for that's more than that, right? So you get the credibility and the exposure and the strategies all in one place. businessconsultantevent.com. We'll see you there.